Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
I'm sorry. Good Lord. Just watched the Snyder cut, so I'm a little tired.
Wake up. All right, it is, March 24th, 2021.
Yep.
And it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Finally, the fans get the release of the O Brother Podcast review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, but before we get into that, if you are not currently following us, make sure that you do. The best way to find all things O Brother, go out to our official website, which is ohb as in brother podcast.com. That's ohbpodcast.com. Get access to all our social media there. You can subscribe and watch our videos on YouTube there. You can also take a look at our blog that we put out almost weekly. We'll have another one coming soon. And we've also currently got a section on film reviews out there too. These little kind of quick, short film reviews. Quite a few of them out there now.
Yeah, we've got at least each letter of the alphabet.
Yeah, that was the goal. Let's fill out the alphabet first, and then we'll dive deeper into each letter or something. So I say we just dive right into this. You know, this has been, what have we been talking about this for the last 4 or 5 years or something? I mean, it's,
the fans have, and so has Zack Snyder.
One thing we can assure you is that this episode will not run as long as Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No. You want me to explain how we got here? I'm not going to give a synopsis of this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's too long. We'd be here all night.
Can you do it in less than 4 hours?
But I can tell you how we got here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Justice League. Came out 2017, right? And it was to compete with Marvel, because Marvel is killing DC and the people at Warner with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So they cleverly named it the DC Universe, whatever. And there's a lot of tinkering going on from behind the scenes with the Justice League. The execs saying, no, we want to keep it at 2 hours. We want to create this universe. So all this tinkering was going on. Zack Snyder was getting a bit frustrated, and then tragedy strikes, right? His daughter dies, which is terrible, but he kept going. He wanted to finish the film. But to help him out, what do? They're trying to imitate Marvel, the Avengers. Let's get the guy who directed the Avengers. So they go out, they get Josh Whedon to come in and work with Zack Snyder. He's not having it, not liking it.
Yeah.
So he quits, or just, says, I'm leaving the project, which he should have anyways, to take some time.
Sure. He had to step away for the personal tragedy. Yeah.
And then the fans started hearing rumors of this Snyder cut that didn't have all the monkeying that Josh Whedon basically infused humor, like that Marvel humor that you can't just force it in there. It's great actors can do that.
And then next thing you know, this leads to the hashtag release the Snyder cut.
Exactly, which has been going on forever.
Like 3 Comic-Cons ago.
People think it's a myth. And then Zack Snyder confirms that there's all sorts of footage.
At Comic-Con, yeah.
At Comic-Con. So I'm guessing there was an executive meeting at HBO or Warner, and when something like this. Yeah, this is George. Any comments? Yeah, Jake. Well, sir, I have a comment. I think, how Justice League came out and it sucked and everybody hated it? Let's redo it. Let's bring back Zack Snyder and let's spend 70 million more, since we lost 200 million already. Somebody promote that guy. And that's where we got to today.
Give that guy a cigar.
Give that guy a cigar. That guy is now working at Blockbuster Video in Alaska, the final one, which I think is out of business.
Is that really was that the final one?
That was the final one.
Oh, a little tidbit there. Okay, so that brings us to today.
Yep. So now we're at the 4 hour. And then it was going to be a 4-part series. And
Right.
then Zack Snyder nixed that. Said,
Yeah.
no, we're going to release. Do you know there's another Zack Snyder cut coming?
Oh, I
And
can't
I'm not
wait.
even joking now.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's going to be in black and white.
Uh huh.
And there's going to be more new footage.
Mm. Just what we've been waiting for.
So that's where
More
we are.
footage.
So I don't know if you could sense anything in my little routine there,
Yeah,
but
and my utter and complete silence
yeah,
might also
you,
speak volumes.
yeah, you just let me go.
That's right. Yeah, this could be, and if any, if my background accoutrement here is any indication for those who are listening and not watching the podcast on YouTube, I've got my whole Oh Brother studio filled out top to bottom with which studio,
Well,
which film
both.
franchise
You have
is
it both.
which is dominating though.
Well, I would say DC because of the Superman, which is sticking right out.
Well, no,
Be-
I've got several, Marvel
yeah,
represented. Got Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Deadpool.
but before people kill me, what's
Yeah,
behind me?
you're
Graphic novels, all DC.
yep, representing the
Justice
DC
League,
universe.
Batman Year One,
Yeah.
the death of Superman. It's all there.
Now the last episode we did reviewing a DC film was WW84.
Oh man.
So really, we could just end the episode now and refer people back to that episode. It's I think it's going to be
Uh-oh.
about the same response.
I think you tipped your hat.
Well, we're not going to dilly dally anymore. I mean, the only thing I can say about this, and maybe you'll find this odd, I didn't, it was weird. I didn't feel it didn't seem like a 4 hour movie to me for some reason. That was the one thing that I was surprised. Like I didn't,
But
you've
you
heard me,
watched it.
some of these 2 hour films, I'm like, I was bored, like Mank, I couldn't get through, like all of
Yeah.
these,
Yeah.
Trial of Chicago 7, et cetera. But I don't know. I chopped it up a little bit, but I mostly watched it straight through. So
We talked last night
yeah.
and you said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm watching the Justice
And I said,
League."
why?
Exactly. You said, "Didn't you already watch it?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, but I wanted to be sure
A deep dive.
before I made my comments that I was not dreaming, that I didn't fall asleep the first
Right.
time."
Right.
So I wanted to give it a sec, and I gave it. So I spent 8 hours watching, just
And
watching.
I already know there's going to be listeners who are going to
You're gonna
vehemently
hate
disagree
this.
with what we say.
Abs Saute, sorry, my friend.
Saute South is because I saw his review
Yes, and he watched it with his pop.
and he gave it a perfect
100%.
score.
100%.
Right. And so, it was, look, we had a good relationship going there for a while with him. But at this point, I'd say that's in the past. Just like I want to put this experience of watching this film in the past. The bottom line is for all the hype and all the waiting, this brought absolutely nothing new to the table. Not only nothing new for this film, but for the DC universe.
See,
Nothing. We're right back to where we were. It's
I agree.
it's inconsistent. There's things that don't make sense. They don't thread anything together from the other films. It just
Well, first off, it's a totally different movie,
and they're trying
really.
so hard to be Marvel. They really,
Yes.
in this you could feel the desperate attempt
And
to be
the
Marvel.
problem is when you build team of superheroes, look at what Marvel did. They started with Iron Man, okay?
Yeah.
Then at the end of the show, they maybe add a little teaser that, hey, I got this guy Hulk you can work with and and they tease in each movie, they tease in a new character.
Right.
What DC tried to do is say, let's throw them all in one big movie and we'll be just like Marvel.
There was one
No.
I read an article that was really funny. where the guy basically said, it was like a video game with a whole bunch of character, like non-playable characters. Just you couldn't you couldn't really do anything with them.
Here's the major problem is, first of all, if you watch it, if you haven't seen it, and we're not going to spoil it, God help us, but
It doesn't need
we
any
can
help.
say a lot of things because Snyder put about 18 trailers out. So there's a lot out in that universe, but I'll pick out a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
It's in parts, right? Part 1, don't count on it, Batman. You
Which a
could look
chunk of it is just a regurgitation of
exactly.
the Batman Superman sort of ending of that
But
film.
it's all different. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
different movie. There's all sorts of different cuts. There's not as much humor. It's darker.
I was on board for that part one and even some of part two.
You know what? I didn't get on board and until Superman. I was waiting for Superman.
Well,
Good
look,
luck. That was the epilogue.
hands hands down, that's the only redeeming part of this whole film
Yeah.
is Henry Cavill Superman.
Now, is it a better Justice League than this? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's a better
It's a
Justice League than this piece of crap.
yes.
However, it's not a good Justice League. More isn't better.
No.
And I think he threw every bit of tape he must have shot into this movie.
Right.
4 hours.
And
And
an
I,
hour of that could have been, do we need to see Commissioner Gordon for like literally no apparent reason? It
and why, like, I love that oh man, what's her name? Sean Penn's ex-wife, Robin Wright.
yeah.
Robin Wright gets one like quick glimpse, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's her whole.
Well, she got about equal screen time as Lex Luthor.
But the movie, if you want to know what the movie's about, because it's really confusing, it goes all over the joint.
Yeah.
And the main villain is now Doomsday, who's in it various times and looks completely different, right? He looks one, he's getting killed one moment. He looks like kind of an average sized guy. Then he's dressing down his general that's supposed to be getting these boxes
Well, this
and
is
he's
dark.
giant size.
This is dark, sad, and dark side, and it was just different levels of henchmen. So it was one
Yeah,
one
three
guy,
henchmen.
one goon reporting to another goon.
Correct. And Doomsday is the ultimate goon.
Yeah.
But they showed him three different ways. It was so confusing,
Right.
for people who don't know the comic book. But I'll give you three instances that are absolutely terrible filmmaking where it proves that the director was just trying to get his stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
First, if you want to know what this movie is about, Diana, Wonder Woman, explains it all. She
Yeah.
tells it
Right.
to Bruce Wayne in the Batcave that she just waltzes into. He's up working on some bat crawler that we find out later in the movie that now flies in the Justice League.
They
The new
fly
Justice
now.
League.
They
It
fly
flies
now.
thanks to Cyborg, who cares about Cyborg?
And yet Snyder makes him like the
He's
central
the main
character.
character. Have you ever heard of Cyborg?
No,
I haven't
I don't ever want to
until I
hear a
saw this
Cyborg
stupid
again.
movie. And I don't want to know any more about Cyborg. Half the time it's a real guy with a mask. The other time it's like terrible CGI.
And at one point, I'm like, is he a superhero or does he work on Wall Street? What is he a
Is he just
stockbroker?
is he
What
just
is
ticked off at his dad?
he a sociologist?
Does he
I don't know
love
what's
his
going on.
dad?
Right. He's got a
But
problem with
anyways,
the economy. I don't know. I'm
yeah,
confused.
he's giving away money. Let me get back to my thing. So Diana's
Yeah.
telling Bruce about the story.
Right.
And first she walks into the bat cave and he makes kind of a joke. It wasn't a really good joke, but he said, I spent $1 million on security. And she says, well, it took me almost 2 seconds to get in. So he comes down from working on the thing and they're walking and she's telling him the story. And as she's telling the story, we see it unfolding. We see the boxes, we see the villains.
Right.
Then cut back, and it's her again talking to him. He's back under the crawler. A terrible edit, an absolutely ridiculously bad edit that somebody should have got fired over.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so there's one example.
yeah.
Second example, how long are we going to have to watch Superman stand in a field? Because that was 30 minutes long, for crying out loud. That one scene.
Not as long as the slow motion scene of Lois Lane drinking Starbucks. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
could
that was a
we?
good one.
The one thing they're missing in this movie was use of more slow mo. Like, what was with the slow motion every
Okay,
2 seconds?
that's my third point, right? The Flash. Okay, the Flash is going in for a dog walking job.
Don't get
I
me
don't know
started on the
why.
Flash.
Huh?
Don't get me started on
I
the
know,
Flash.
but I don't know why he wants to walk dogs. He's got this superpower. He can just steal money out of registers. He doesn't need a job, for crying out loud. Anyway, they decide that I guess Zack Snyder was going to introduce his love interest in this movie, which is going to be in the next Flash movie. Dude, how long did that scene go on?
Yeah, and what was with the disturbing use of wieners?
Hot dogs. Like, let me grab
Ha-
these wieners.
hashtag
I
me
love
too.
you.
Uh, Very bizarre.
No, I mean, they make a joke out of it because when he finally, that whole slow motion finally
Yeah,
ends,
it's terrible.
he's like, "Oh, I love dogs. I brought some wieners for the
Which
dogs."
goes back to the point though, DC doesn't know how to do humor. They just don't. It's very
No,
forced,
it's
and
forced.
especially with Flash, it comes off very goofy and
He's their comedy relief.
silly,
He's the only one,
and it's not good.
and they took some of it out from the
Yeah,
other one, but it's still horrible.
it's still bad.
And
Yeah, it's
and
still
you know
bad.
what else I don't need? My man. I don't need that in the middle of my just from Aquaman when he gets saved by Cyborg. My
Okay,
man.
okay, we get it. It's Jason Momoa, but Aquaman wearing a scarf, like what's with the rock and roll Aquaman? I think I'd rather see the Super Friends Aquaman get
And
up.
Aquaman flies. He doesn't need to be in the water, so he can fly. And Cyborg can suddenly fly, and the Flash can go so fast. I guess he can fly. They can all fly.
Now, were you
Let's
excited?
win.
Were you excited at the it? Well, yeah. And what was with the Flash's running? What is with that running?
I hate it.
What is that?
I don't
It's
know.
just it's very odd. It's so odd.
It's
It's
terrible.
like Elaine from Seinfeld
Yeah, doing the day.
doing the Elaine. Now,
Oh.
were you excited? I mean, stop the episode now if you don't want any spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie previously, but you must have been excited to see Deadpool make an appearance towards the end.
No,
Okay.
I wasn't
Because
excited
it
about.
isn't Deadpool. Oh, it's
No, it's
Slade Wilson, not
in
Wade Wilson, who's Deadpool in Marvel. It's Slade Wilson, also known as Deathstroke, another
Deathstroke
character nobody other than the comic, world knows
universe,
about.
right?
Right.
And and then what about the other? I don't even know his name.
The
Man,
Martian Maker,
the Martian Maker,
the Martian Manhunter. Sorry,
Martian
folks.
Manhunter.
Sorry, folks. I don't know who the Martian
I don't
Manhunter is.
know, and people were excited for that. Like comic book guys, we got Martian Manhunter. Yes.
I was excited it was Diane Lane until I realized it was Martian Manhunter.
Exactly.
It
Martian
just
Manhunter is suddenly Lois. I don't.
and listen,
So
we both know, we've punched our ticket on the fact that Jesse Eisenberg is never going to do the podcast. Therefore, I have no problem in saying once again, this guy is just not a good actor, and he's only in this for like 2 seconds.
at the
And
end,
and as this other article I read so aptly pointed out, how do we get from how we saw him in the movie previously to now he's Gene Hackman's character in the Donner version of Superman.
Yeah.
What's with like his head shape? He's wearing a
A
three-piece
suit.
suit all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Hey,
He
I
got
don't
out of
understand.
jail.
It was unnecessary. Then,
And
oh,
one thing
hold on.
he correct.
I gotta take some excitement.
Yeah. One thing he corrected for the me movement people, and I remember when I first saw Justice League, and you can go back and watch it for yourselves.
Well, if this is going to be nothing than a counterbalance to the Flash hot dogs,
No, well,
no.
maybe it's Wonder Woman sexualizing Wonder Woman. Because if you remember, I said to you, "What's with the ass cam?" They
Oh,
Josh Whedon took two shots. One when she was in the at the very beginning when
mm,
she's fighting the bullets off with her wrists.
yeah.
And they made that scene much longer. Now it's like it's a full-blown Uzi.
If that
Where
was the Wonder Woman we got in WW 84, I would have liked that film a lot better. I liked her Wonder Woman in this film.
yeah, but what I'm pointing out is the shots of
The
her rear end.
objectification. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And then that scene I complained about when she waltzed into the Batcave. If you watch the original version, there is a shot
Just like
from her rear
gratuitous.
end. Her rear end is in the
Yeah.
frame, and
It's
you can
just,
barely see Batman off in the back. And dude, since when does Batman just walk around with no mask? I'm
well,
just Bruce Wayne in a big
yeah.
iron
You know,
suit.
I'm so glad you brought this up because what is this like a Kylo Ren cowl? Like, okay, so he puts it on and all of a sudden, then he talks like this.
Yeah,
Did Adam West ever have that affect when he put? I think Adam West spoke pretty much the same as he did
but there's
when he was
no.
Bruce Wayne.
Isn't he supposed to be like a secret? Nobody's supposed to know who he is.
I think this movie should have been kept a secret, quite
Oh my
frankly.
god, that bothered me. And then he would disappear. Like Batman, seemingly the main character, getting this crew together,
Mm,
but he would disappear for a half hour,
right.
and there'd be no Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
What about the I don't know, the product placement with Under Armour was kind of bizarre. Did you catch that
I
on
caught it.
Cyborg's football
I caught it.
jacket?
Yep, I caught it.
They couldn't
Uh,
have
this was just garbage. And I hate to be mean to Zack Snyder because of the tragedy and whatnot, but this was really an egotistical movie. I mean, it was like, look at how I mean, there are things that are good in this movie. Don't get me wrong. I hated it, but there's parts where I'll say that's a nice shot. That's a really well done shot.
right.
Most of it has to do with Superman when he's
Uh,
not standing in a field for a half hour.
He's
you know,
overlooking the crops.
and what while everything's getting to a climax, why does he make a pit stop to talk to Alfred?
Yeah,
Hi, Alfred.
I
I
know.
guess I'm supposed to be doing something right now.
Another scene that this article points out is okay, we have a scene where Alfred's literally just showing Wonder Woman how to make tea. We couldn't edit that
Exactly.
out.
She's been around for 5,000 years. Thinks she knows how to do the teeth thing.
Yeah, you chunk these things out we're talking about. You got yourself a 2 hour movie. Done.
Right.
We can go home.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And we go home and be satisfied with a decent movie.
Right.
If and it's too late now. This thing is a mess.
Now the only thing,
Too late to fix it.
the only additional footage that was shot was that ends up in that epilogue, right? With the Joker.
That don't get me going with that. The worst Joker ever.
See now, I
He
actually
got even worse. He got
yeah,
worse.
but not in comparison to Suicide Squad version.
He got worse than that.
No, I don't. I disagree on that point. I disagree.
Maybe.
As a matter of fact, because I like the long hair, and I actually did like his attempt at the laugh, whatever that was. It was different. It was different because what do you bring? What else can you bring to that
Yeah, but
part
see,
of the Joker?
I didn't.
But it was very subtle. No, it wasn't.
I didn't like
you're,
it.
You're
I
being
didn't
a
like
little. You're being a
But
little goofy.
it's the Joker. It's the clown prince. He's supposed to have that laugh. That's why everybody does it.
Yeah, but I mean,
You don't say, "Oh, I got to do something different." How about tea?
Yeah, but I think if
Tee.
I think you'd be saying that the same thing if he had done this. You'd be like, "Oh, geez, he's trying to do
I didn't
Nicholson
say that
over
about
here,"
Heath Ledger. I didn't say it about um
and he changed it up. Yeah, there was a little. He did a couple of
but in
Nicholson
both
type,
of them,
Caesar
Joaquin
Romero's.
Phoenix, yeah, you could hear some Caesar Romero in both of them
Yeah,
at times. I'm not
yeah,
saying do a Caesar Romero, but and dude, Bob Kane, right,
yeah.
is rolling over in his grave because Batman would never throw an F bomb out there.
That
Never,
is very
never.
troublesome. I don't understand. Okay, we get this alternate universe they're ended up in. It's dark, it's gritty, it's what I don't need an F bomb. You see Marvel doing that?
Nope.
See, have you seen Marvel do that in any of their films?
I mean, could you see Thor throwing an
No.
F bomb at Hulk during?
It just was
And there was like
gratuitous. It's
three F
gratuitous.
bombs that didn't have to be there
Well,
just to get an R,
I threw
just
out
to
a
get an
couple
R
of F
rating.
bombs watching this film.
I
It's
threw a couple
just
F bombs at my TV,
yeah, just disappointing. Just not worth the hype and the
but
wait.
honestly, if Bob was alive,
Oh yeah, I
he would
agree.
have literally said, "Get that out of this movie."
I agree. It never would have been in it. It never
No,
would have been in it. I don't
no.
understand why you got to go there. I
I
really
mean,
don't.
look at other companies can do it. Sony did it with Spider-Man. Those were
Hmm.
good movies. Um, they had it. They
I
had the
think it goes back to
formula.
your point. They've got to romance Chris Nolan and get him to come in and save this thing because
And
it is
really,
going down like the Hindenburg.
you've got Batman, and now I'm afraid to see what this new Batman movie is. Obviously, I've liked five of the Batmans out of
And
seven.
there's another issue too. If we put them side by side, which do you think has rebooted their characters more, DC or Marvel?
Right, right.
It's like how
It's
many
crazy.
Supermans, how many Hulks, how many
Right,
Spider?
right.
Well, that's Marvel, but
And the killer is
you know,
we both like Michael Keaton, and he's coming back as Batman. I don't know how, but with Ben Affleck,
with
I don't know
Affleck,
how
I don't know.
because of the Flash can change time or whatever. I don't
Yes,
want to see it. I don't
I
want to
know
see it.
those don't. That's just not going to work. It's not going to
But
work.
they had two great Batman movies, right? It wasn't the kickoff. I still say Dick Tracy was the kickoff. And if you want to go before that, Superman with
Mm.
Richard Donner was the ultimate kickoff. The best Superman scene of all time was when Superman flies up into the universe and then does like a turn and flies out. That was 1975.
Amazing,
And
amazing.
it's still the best shot.
I was just watching one of those documentaries on the making of that, and it was just so ahead of its time and
And then they
uh,
fired him during
so
while he was making
innovative.
two.
Right,
But
right.
anyways,
So
there's two good Superman movies. We both like Man of Steel. We both like Henry Cavill as Superman.
I like Brandon Routh. I liked
Yeah,
him.
see, I wasn't as,
I
and it
thought they
wasn't
could have
him.
kept. I thought they could have kept going with
They could
him.
have. It wasn't him. It was a terrible movie,
Yeah, it
though. It was a
wasn't him at all.
boring movie.
Yeah,
And then they rebooted again, and they get a good guy, and now they're rebooting it again.
right. And now refresh my memory. Do we know what happened? Do we know the exact details of what happened with Cavill and this whole thing?
He was good to go. Ready. I'm ready for Man of Steel 2. Yeah, we'll do it. And they just brought in somebody new,
Yeah.
like
So
they
that
did with Batman.
well, there's certainly more to it than that, but
And the funny thing is when they do a stand, like the guy who did Joker, his name's just not on the tip of my tongue. The director of Joker is like, we are not part of the DC universe. This is a
yeah,
standalone movie. We
you're
don't
right.
want to be associated with them.
A disclaimer. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's bad. It's
and
bad.
Batman's doing the same thing.
How many times do you have to fail at this formula?
And
I
it's
just
right there. You start by introducing characters one at a
and
time.
you're like, is this? Wait a minute, is this Thanos? Are these the
Right.
stones? It just seemed like a
they're
copycat
really
version of,
copying and they're doing a bad
yeah,
job of it.
yeah.
And
It's
I'm
a bummer.
sorry, and comic book people, you cannot hate on us for this. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I mean, I've got every graphic novel there is,
Yeah,
and I know that these characters,
yeah. I should have brought up my Batmans I had too, but
yeah,
you must have them represented. I can see them in the back.
yeah, oh, I've got
Yeah,
Batman all over, and I'm
exactly.
looking at a cowl right across from me. There's a
Right,
cowl, and
right.
there's three different versions of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Adam West one,
it's it's clear where we stand on this.
yeah,
It 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 it's just it's a letdown, unfortunately. And
and I knew that when I went to Rotten Tomatoes, don't go there because it's easy to get on as a critic for
yeah,
Rotten Tomatoes.
right,
Go to IMDb, the database. That's
right,
the real critics. 40%
yeah,
of the critics, it's at 40%. And the fans are up around 80, 75, 80.
yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes is like 90 for the fans and something like 75 for the critics, which makes me say those aren't really good critics.
Well, another website you need to go to if you haven't already is the Oh Brother Podcast website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. If you're not already following us and you want to get to all things Oh Brother, go out to our official website, get access to all our social media. You can subscribe and watch our videos on YouTube there. You can even get in contact with us through the website. If you want to drop us a line, you can do that through social media as well. And you get access to our blog and film reviews out there too. Speaking of superhero strength or superheroes in general, I was last week, I think it was week and a half, whatever. I'm going to take the trash out
Mm-hmm.
and I have a door that leads into my garage and then out. So I unlocked the door to go out in the garage and take it out to the curb. And I take the can down to the curb. I come back and door's locked. Door's locked.
Oh man.
I don't have a hide key.
Oh
So
man.
I immediately start, is there a window open? No windows open. No
Right.
other way to get into the house.
Right.
So I get on the phone with my
Shadow. Shadow.
yeah, my cat. Hey Shadow, can you come around the front and let dad in? But she's too busy,
Yeah, she's playing with the toys, like
she's
looking
working
at
on
you with
some
a
catnip.
snicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't. She's like, it serves you right, you silly
Yeah.
bastard. So I'm like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. And I'm, like, oh, if I muscle this a little bit harder, it'll unlatch or for some reason. And I swear to God, the image you mentioned, shadow, I swear for a millisecond, I had a thought: is she on the other side of the door holding it closed? I would deserve it if it was true. But then I was on the phone. I get on the phone with my girlfriend and I say, I locked myself out of the house because she was on the way over. And so I said, and my phone's in the house. I'm wearing my Apple Watch. So I have
Oh,
technically access to the outside world, but very limited, which is how I
yeah.
called her. I pulled a little James Bond and I called
Not
her.
bad. Not bad.
Right. So, okay, we're in business, got some, communication. And I say, hey, can you, find a locksmith or whatever to try? So we're formulating a plan. Meanwhile, I'm still trying, I'm kicking it, and trying to nothing. Instead of just simply, now, I've never been accused of being a patient man. And
No.
mom always, since I was a kid, always said to me, Danny, patience is a virtue. Pa- I now fully understand that
The door was
because
wide open the whole time.
I pulled a Karate Kid on this door and I kicked that door in like Nick Cage in Willy's Wonderland. And I got in instead of waiting for a locksmith. But
What
now,
door did you kick in? Your front door?
no, no. Thankfully, it's just the door that leads from my garage into my house.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not a major security breach,
But still, what you'd
But
have to break the whole.
the casing was split in two. The latch
Uh,
flew across the room, but the door perfectly intact. Door's fine. Door's
Yeah.
fine.
Funny about that.
So I since had to go to Lowe's and pick up a new casing for the door frame, and
Right.
I had to get a miter box to cut it and fit it back and angle it and all this
And
stuff.
what about the, where the lock goes in? That must have been destroyed.
No, it actually wasn't. Although the the opening where that goes into,
Mm-hmm.
folks that are watching will see my miming here.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
hole that goes into, the wood was split, so I had to glue. I had clamps all down the door, and you should have seen it. It was quite
Good
a.
Lord.
It was. I was pretty
And
proud of
this
myself, though.
and this has what to do with Justice League?
It's a more entertaining story than Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I'd rather see that movie
Yeah,
than
I should have filmed myself kicking the door
yeah,
down and sent
yeah,
it to Zach.
exactly.
He could have used that
And
instead.
watch
Hey, coming
Shadow
soon
look
to
like
HBO Max. Dan kicks down his door to the garage.
Oh, and hey,
It's 98
just
on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, let's end this on the Disney prediction that I made. What,
Yeah,
when we started this podcast, I think I made it,
that's right.
and it's coming true. Black Widow, get your
Yeah.
$30 out.
Cruella, get you 30
Get
bucks
your
out.
30 bucks out.
I'm distancing myself from that criticism a little bit, as I did the last time we talked about it, because
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit on the other
I'm
side of
not
that
wrong,
issue.
and I'll tell you why. I don't mind
I'd
if it
say,
goes out in the theater,
yeah,
okay, and then comes to Disney Plus, and we get to watch it. But if you
but we
have
don't
it on
have
Disney
theaters right
Plus,
now, so you can't blame a business entity for looking to recoup that money, no
oh
matter
come on,
how well you see they're doing, on the bottom line,
yeah,
even
but
through
that's
the
the thing.
pandemic. No,
They've got
but
they've got
you're not a parent, right? I just had this conversation. You're not a parent who would, quite frankly, rather pay 30 bucks, be in the comfort of their home, have a glass of wine, enjoy the
I get
film,
that.
and not spend $100 at least to go
I
see it in the theater.
I get that.
They're
Okay.
okay
I
with
get
that.
that point. I get that point. Because honestly, if you, a lot of times, if you gave me the choice of going to a theater, which
Mm.
we both have OCD, we both admit to that. I don't like crunching popcorn. I don't like wrap.
Don't.
Don't bring your own candy and wrap it in this, because I get furious at that,
Don't
right?
bring your own soda as well.
Right. And then when you're done with it, after I hear and you're done with it, it rolls down the cook. I remember one guy brought bottles of beer
Mm.
and he would roll them down the aisle and it would hit a seat, clink, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
clink.
for God's sakes, if you're going to do that, at least put it in one of these beautiful Oh Brother mugs, would
Yeah,
you?
because it can't roll.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I would pay a little more to watch in the comfort of my home, but I already subscribed to this
I know, but
beforehand, thinking I was going to get
that's
whatever
a
was on that
yeah, but
service. That's not fair.
that's a specious argument, because there was never any guarantee or promise anywhere
I
that
think there
said when you
was.
no, there wasn't. When you
They,
subscribe to Disney Plus, you're gonna get all the content we ever put out on this platform forever and ever and ever. That would have
I
been
think
naive to think that was the
no, I think it
case.
was there. I think it
No, it
was
wasn't.
there.
No, you're
I
wrong.
think
You're
that
wrong on
promise
that
was
point.
made because so
You're
you
wrong.
see, then obviously we're going to get the vault like they did with the DVDs.
I won't argue that. I'm fully prepared for the vault to come. Here's where I will have an issue, and I've already stated this, is if, and we've talked about it, if they start messing with like The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
right, and that content,
You'll be right on my side.
that's where I'm going to have a problem.
Yep.
And that'll be the vault nonsense that they'll pull on us. So what?
Have you seen the set they built for the new Ben Kenobi thing?
No, but let's not.
Man,
we'll be here for another. We'll be here for.
I counted my Disney Blu-rays today. I did a physical count, and I stopped. I was
And
at
it's
460.
It still took you less time than the Zack Snyder Justice League.
You know, I could have had watched three other movies in the
All right. Well, let's bring this to a close before we end up at the 4-hour mark ourselves. All right, folks. It's clear where we stand on Zack Snyder's Justice League cut.
For
So
for the fans who love the film and think it was great, God love you, but
Godspeed.
just 4 hours of your life, you can do other things.
That's right. That's right.
There's
Like,
books.
go
There's
back
books.
and listen to other episodes of the Oh Brother podcast.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. And we will see you next time.
Snyder cut. Sorry.
Wake
Bye,
up.
everyone. Bye, everyone.